All right, here we go again. Just when it seemed like the Tiffany Henyard drama had finally run its course, guess what? The so-called super mayor might actually be headed to jail. And not even for the reasons we originally expected. Yeah, strap in, because this story just keeps getting more unbelievable. Tiffany Henyard. If you've been tracking the chaos coming out of Dalton, Illinois, then her name definitely rings a bell. But if not, let me bring you up to speed. Tiffany wasn't your average small-town mayor. She was a full-blown controversy magnet, and calling her a bit corrupt would be putting it way too lightly. Even Fox News ran an entire segment exposing how reckless and unhinged her leadership was. We're talking about a mayor who literally told residents they better have her money. The same mayor who went on over-the-top shopping sprees, like she was using her own Amex, except it was taxpayers footing the bill. One day, she reportedly racked up a jaw-dropping $40,000 in Amazon purchases. In one day, using Village credit cards. Yeah, $40,000. Let that marinate. And no, this isn't some wild conspiracy. We've got hard evidence. It's all in the official records. And if you've been following closely, you know this already. Henyard lost her re-election for mayor. She also got removed from her position as township supervisor, which means, as of right now, Tiffany Henyard is completely out. No title, no clout. She's done. But wait, things are about to get even crazier. Despite being kicked out of office, Henyard was still legally obligated to comply with court subpoenas. Why? Because during her time as mayor, she flat out ignored multiple Freedom of Information Act requests, also known as FOIAs, submitted by the public. And if you don't know, FOIAs are a legal right for people to see how government money is being spent. It's one of the key ways to hold officials accountable. And yes, those requests cover credit card records. When an elected official is burning through tens or even hundreds of thousands in public funds, the people absolutely deserve to see where that money went. In fact, early on, the village of Dalton was actually releasing those financials. That's how journalists and watchdogs discovered just how excessive Henyard's spending had become. Take the Taste of Thornton Township event, for example. Official records show Kiki Wyatt was paid $30,000 for a 30-minute set, and Jay Holiday, another $20,000 for his short appearance. Toss in stage crews, rental gear, and other random expenses, and you're looking at a price tag of at least $85,000. But here's the kicker. The trustees later said they never approved any of it. They claimed those payments were never signed off, and yet the money still vanished. So now, even though Henyard's no longer in charge, the legal mess continues. A judge told her to cooperate with subpoenas. She didn't. And when you defy a court order, that's how people end up getting arrested. This story has officially gone from outrageous to flat out insane. And trust me, it's far from over. One major PR disaster later, and boom, it turned into a full-on lawsuit. WGN Investigates didn't waste any time. They took Tiffany Henyard and her administration straight to court, demanding they follow open records laws. They submitted formal requests for basic transparency, credit card logs, salary breakdowns, even the costs tied to her taxpayer-funded vehicle. And how did Dalton respond? They flat out refused to release anything. So WGN cranked it up a notch. They went straight to the Illinois Attorney General. After reviewing the case, the AG ruled in WGN's favor. No question. They issued a clear directive for Dalton to hand over the requested documents by mid-March. But did Dalton follow through? Of course not. The deadline came and went, and still crickets. Henyard and her team acted like they were completely untouchable. But now, it's not just WGN turning up the heat. Multiple organizations have filed lawsuits demanding those records be made public. And Henyard? She tried to slip out the back door. Literally. She stepped down and pulled the classic, not my job anymore move, pointing to the new mayor and washing her hands of the mess. But here's the thing. Legal responsibility doesn't vanish when you lose an election. One of the plaintiffs even dropped this gem. The former mayor is about to learn the hard way that you can't dodge contempt of court by walking away from office. And spoiler, she's right. By then, Henyar had already been hit with a contempt of court ruling for refusing to hand over the documents. Leaving office didn't get her off the hook. The judge made it crystal clear: either show up in court or go directly to jail. No wiggle room. Which brings us to the present. Tiffany Henyard was officially scheduled for a court appearance, but not for financial fraud, not for corruption charges. Nope, it was over her refusal to turn over public records in a FOIA case. And the judge had already laid down the law: hand over the documents or face $1,000 per day fines. Skip court entirely? Straight to jail. So what did she do? She kind of showed up via Zoom. No courtroom, no face-to-face, just a virtual login from who knows where. The judge wasn't impressed. But instead of throwing her in jail then and there, he gave her one last shot. 1 week to deliver those records. And next time, she better be there in person. No more hiding behind a webcam. During that hearing, Henyard tried yet another deflection tactic, claiming she was just the face of the village and had no real control over the documents. But the judge wasn't buying it for a second. He shut it down instantly. You had access. You were ordered to turn them over. You didn't. Show up next week with the records in person. Period. And let's be real, there's a reason she's dodging this so hard. My opinion? It's obvious those documents are a goldmine of damning info. That's why she's stalling. Once those files go public, the full picture of her mismanagement and abuse of power will be out in the open. Every shady contract, every blown taxpayer dollar. It's all likely hiding in plain sight. Honestly, the only logical reason she's risking contempt charges is because those records could expose her as not just corrupt, but possibly one of the most blatantly corrupt mayors in modern American politics. And now she's running out of time. So what's next? Will Tiffany finally hand over those records? Or is she really bold enough or reckless enough to drag this out until she's actually behind bars? Personally, I wouldn't be surprised if she tries to stall again. But with that daily $1,000 fine stacking up and a judge who clearly isn't playing games, the pressure's closing in fast. So now I've got to ask, do you think Tiffany Henyard will come clean and turn over those documents? Or is she going to push this mess to the point of getting locked up? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, and hit subscribe. Because this saga, it's nowhere near the end.